Imagine standing at the edge of everything you have ever fought for, only to watch it vanish into the dust. The year is roughly 1440 BCE. Deep within the unforgiving, sun-scorched wastes of the Sinai Peninsula, an entire nation stands paralyzed. Millions of people look to one man. His beard is weathered by salt and storm. His hands, which once split the Red Sea, now tremble slightly against his staff. His name is Moses. But today, he is not leading a triumphant march. He is overseeing a mass funeral. Just weeks prior, a rebellion of fear erupted at the borders of the Promised Land. The sentence from the heavens was absolute. This generation will never set foot in the land of milk and honey. Instead, they are condemned to wander the desert for 40 years until every single adult body drops dead in the wilderness. Every single day for the next 4 decades, Moses will dig graves. He will bury his friends, his elders, his peers. He is a leader trapped in a living graveyard. It is here, in the crushing weight of this ultimate crisis, that a broken man sits in a tent of goat hair, dips his reed pen in ink, and writes the oldest poem in the Hebrew Bible, Psalm 90. The author and the catalyst. A leader of the dead. To understand the sheer weight of Psalm 90, we must look at the psychological state of its author. Moses was a man of 3 distinct lifetimes. First, a prince of Egypt, surrounded by monumental stone pyramids built to defy time. Second, a forgotten shepherd in Midian, blending into the silent dirt. Third, the reluctant deliverer of a stubborn nation. He had witnessed the absolute peak of human arrogance in Pharaoh and the absolute fragility of human existence in the desert. But the wilderness wandering was a psychological horror of a different scale. Mathematically, for an entire generation to die out over 40 years, Moses would have to witness dozens of funerals every single day. The desert air was permanently thick with the wailing of professional mourners. Moses is drowning in mortality. He looks at his people, and all he sees is a fleeting vapor. He looks at himself, now an old man, and realizes his life's work has transformed into a 40-year march to the grave. How does a human being survive that level of existential dread? He writes, not a complaint, but a desperate cry to the only thing in the universe that does not decay. Lord, you have been our dwelling place throughout all generations. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God. The metaphors of the Sinai. Life as a vapor. As Moses continues his prayer, he draws directly from the harsh, unforgiving geography of the ancient Near East. He looks out at the landscape and uses metaphors that would strike terror and familiarity into the hearts of his listeners. You turn people back to dust, saying, "Return to dust, you mortals." You sweep them away in the sleep of death. They are like the new grass of the morning. In the morning it springs up new, but by evening it is dry and withered. To a modern audience, grass sounds gentle, but in the Negev and Sinai deserts, a wadi, a dry riverbed, can transform in an instant. A sudden downpour miles away creates a violent flash flood. Overnight, tiny green shoots of grass sprout aggressively along the mud, but by noon, the next day, the scorching sirocco wind blows from the east. The temperature skyrockets. The grass burns, turns to ash, and vanishes back into the dust. Moses is looking at the children of Israel, and looking at us, and saying, "You are that morning grass." He contrasts this fragile, fleeting human lifespan against the terrifying scale of divine time. 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has just gone by, or like a watch in the night. In ancient warfare, a watch in the night was just 4 hours of darkness. To Moses, the entire rise and fall of the Egyptian empire, the lifetime of the patriarchs, the generations of human suffering, are nothing more than a 4-hour shift. Of a god standing on a wall. We brag of our decades. We build monuments to our names. But in the grand tapestry of cosmic time, we are a single breath taken in the dark. The reckoning, counting the days. In the heart of the psalm, Moses confronts the bitter truth of why they are in this desert. It is the friction between human flaw and divine justice. All our days pass away under your wrath. We finish our years with a moan. Our days may come to 70 years or 80 if our strength endures, yet the best of them are but trouble and sorrow, for they quickly pass, and we fly away. This is the ultimate ancient reality check. Even with modern medicine, human life tops out at around 80 or 90 years. And what is the texture of those years? Labor and sorrow. Moses is trapped in a loop of time. He watches the sun rise over the dunes, and he watches it set. The days bleed into years. The camp moves from one barren oasis to another. He realizes that the greatest danger of a short life is not death itself. It is wasting the time we actually have in bitterness, anger, and futility. So the prophet offers a pivot, a prayer that has echoed through 3 millennia as the ultimate formula for a meaningful life. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. To number our days does not mean to live in fear of death. It means to recognize that time is a non-renewable currency. Moses realizes that wisdom does not come from living forever. It comes from knowing that your days are limited, making every single sunrise a gift to be intentional with. The legacy, beauty from the ashes. Moses would never cross the Jordan River. He would eventually climb Mount Nebo, look out at the promised land from a distance, and die alone in the mountains. His own life ended in the wilderness. Yet, Psalm 90 does not end in tragedy. It ends with a desperate, beautiful plea for legacy. Satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, that we may sing for joy and be glad all our days. May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Think of the profound irony. A man whose generation was condemned to accomplish nothing physically enduring, no cities built, no empires conquered, begs God to establish the work of our hands. And was that prayer answered? 3,000 years later, the Egyptian pharaohs who chased Moses into the sea are mummies in glass cases, their empires buried under the sand. The grand stone monuments they built are tourist attractions, but the words written by the weary shepherd in a temporary leather tent are still alive. They are read at modern funerals to comfort grieving mothers. They are whispered by soldiers in trenches. They are meditated on by thinkers looking for meaning in a chaotic world. The work of Moses' hands was not stone, it was the human soul. We all find ourselves in deserts of our own making. We all face the terrifying reality that our time here is short, that our lives are fragile, and that we cannot control the sands of time. But Psalm 90 reminds us that mortality is not a curse to fear, it is a call to awaken. It challenges us to look beyond our fleeting moments, to anchor ourselves in what is eternal, and to live with such fierce intentionality that the work of our short hands echoes into eternity. Number your days, because the clock is ticking, and every single breath is a miracle.